Welcome back, friends. So this is the last session of osteology of lower limb. So in this session we'll finish the remaining part of skeleton of foot. So in the previous session, in the part 1 skeleton of foot, we have finished talus and calcaneum. In this part we'll finish the remaining bones. So the remaining bones I have highlighted in green in color. You can see there is navicular, cuneiform, cuboid, metatarsal and phalangeal bone. So here we will not get in detail, only superficial information is required so that it helps us to understand the arches of foot in the later part of our classes. So let us begin the remaining part. So we will start with our navicular bone. Navicular bone. So there is a bone in the middle row of the carpal bones, middle row of the tarsal bones. So in this particular view and this view. So in this view you can see this is the navicular bone, and here this is the navicular bone. It's a bone belongs to middle row of tarsal bone. Now what does literal meaning of navicular? Navicular in literal meaning in Latin, it means little boat. Just like your scaphoid is a boat, is a little ship or a boat. So if you look at this one and you try to draw a figure out of it, you will make a boat out of it. You see here, it is like a small boat you can make, like a boat. You can put the rower here and here. So that's like a boat, a little ship. Now, so let us introduce the topic. So it is definitely a boat shaped tarsal bone, and it is flattened. So it is, if you see here, this is, if you see on both the side, it is actually compressed, like it is compressed between thumb and index finger, so it is flattened in the antero-posterior axis. It presents 6 surfaces. So the surfaces are anterior surface. So anterior surface will be the surface which is surface can be the one which is facing anteriorly, or it is a surface which is actually coming in contact with this one. So thereby I can call this surface as anterior surface, this entire, and then opposite surface is the posterior surface. So posterior surface is, this is your posterior surface from the back. Then next is your dorsal surface or superior surface. Dorsal or superior surface is the surface what we are seeing here. So this one is a dorsal surface, and then plantar surface or inferior surface. This is a surface which is opposite of this. For this I can bring this another bone, another image here, and here you can see this is your inferior or the plantar surface. Then you have got medial surface. So medial surface will be the middle side. So this is your medial surface. This side is medial, or this one is medial. So these are your medial surfaces. Medial surface. And finally there is a lateral surface. So lateral surface is, this is the lateral surface. In this case this is the lateral surface. So these are your lateral. It's very simple, very easy and simple. So lateral surface. So we'll talk about few lines about each surfaces. So before we go there, so let us look into the application all these surfaces again one more time. So that's our bone, and let us give the color. Okay, so now you can see, so this one is your dorsal surface, or we'll start the way we have written in our presentation or in our slide. So the surface which is facing in the front, so this one is your anterior surface. It is also called distal surface because it is distal in location. So this is anterior or distal, and if you go this side, this one is your posterior surface, or also called as a proximal. On the top, let me bring this down. Okay, so on the top, so you're seeing on the top, this one is a dorsal surface, and if we go down, wait a minute, some confusion is there. Somewhere something went wrong. This is the lateral, this is medial, this is proximal. Okay, so let us begin again. The orange color is here distal or the anterior surface, this one. Now pink, now this surface is here distal or the posterior surface, and sorry, okay, now this surface is here lateral surface, and this surface is here medial surface. So medial, so if you keep in anatomical position, so the best way to keep in anatomical position is to keep the other bones in place. Now you can see here, so this is your anterior in the front. So let us separate this. We can do multi-selection. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and okay, now here we will be able to do it, and let us give the color coding also to this. Yeah, okay, so this is here, you can see here the anterior surface, so this is your anterior, which is articulating with your cuneiform bone. This is your posterior, so these are all your cuneiform bone. This is also called the distal surface, this one, this surface, and this surface is what we call posterior or proximal surface, articulating with the head of talus, and this is your medial surface on this side, not articulating with anything. The lateral surface is articulating definitely with your cuboid bone, and there will be an inferior, this is your superior surface or dorsal surface, and there will be an inferior surface which will be on that side. So let us see, that's your inferior surface, this side. So if we just explode this view, now you can see what we are seeing. The back is the posterior view, and here in the front, that is your anterior view, and this one, this is your lateral view. So this is your medial view and inferior. So there are only two views, that is your medial view and inferior view don't have any articular facet. Otherwise your anterior, posterior, lateral all have a articular facet. So those are the surfaces of the navicular bone. So let us talk about few lines about each surface. So next is here anterior surface. So anterior surface of navicular bone. So anterior surface, again let us put the image. So that's your anterior surface is here, and yeah, so this one is your anterior surface where I am writing anterior, and this is a navicular bone. So anterior surface has got, it is convex and it possesses 3 articular facets. So there are 3 articular facets for 3 bones which are lying in front of it. So what are the 3 articular facets? So these are 3 articular facets you can see for your cuneiform. You can see this is your medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform, and lateral cuneiform. So all these 3 cuneiforms are articulated. Okay, medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform, lateral cuneiform. All the 3 cuneiform are articulating with the navicular bone, and that's your 3 facet use. So let us go to this and find out our facet. So here you should have 3. You can see here all these 3 bones, if I put together, you see, yeah, there you go. So these are the 3 bones. So 3 bones which are articulating. So if I go back, and now you see this is 1, 2, 3. These 3 are the cuneiform bone articulating with the navicular. So next, so that's about your 3 facet for 3 cuneiforms anteriorly. As simple as that. Among all the 3 facet, the facet for the medial, this facet will be the largest facet. So medial facet is the largest facet in size. Next, posterior surface, also called as a distal surface. Sorry, posterior surface also called proximal surface, and here it is deeply concave. So these are the 2. So here in this is the surface we are talking, and in this case this is the surface. This is our bone, navicular. So this surface is deeply concave. The reason why it is deeply concave, because it is like a socket for the head of the talus. So here articulate with the head of talus. The head of talus articulate here, and thereby forming your talonavicular joint. So talonavicular joint is formed here. Whereas what was this joint with the cuneiform? This joint is your cunonavicular. So that was on your, here I will give a name. These are cuneo-navicular joints. Here it is a talonavicular joint, deeply concave to accommodate the head of the talus. So let us see in this one again. You can see here, this was your anterior surface or the distal surface, and here should be divided into, this is 1, 2 and 3. This is for medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform, and lateral cuneiform, forming your navicular or cuneo-navicular joints. Okay, next is posterior surface we are seeing now. So see the posterior surface here. So that's your posterior surface, or simply you can call as a proximal surface. This posterior surface is articulating with your head of, this is posterior surface of navicular. It is articulating with the head of talus, and you can see it is quite concave, deeply concave, and the joint, when they both put together, the joint which is formed is what we call talonavicular joint. So it is very simple and easy. So this is about your joint, which is we call now as a talonavicular joint. So we are done with the 2 surfaces, anterior and posterior. Let us go to the next surface. The next surface is a dorsal surface. Dorsal surface can also be called as a superior surface. So again, we put this is a dorsal and we put this one here. So again, this is a dorsal surface. So this is a dorsal surface in the diagram. Nice. So dorsal is also called superior surface. Now dorsal surface is convex. As you can see, it is convex upward. So it is convex, and even if you see, it is rough. It is rough and convex, and it articulate. Yeah, dorsal surface is rough and convex. It provide attachment to a ligament. A ligament is attached here, so that ligament, since it is a dorsal surface, it is called dorsal. And ligament, it is between the talus and navicular. So we want the talus and navicular bone to remain together. For that you need a ligament. So there is one ligament. Fibrous capsule of this will get thickened and form a ligament. That ligament is called dorsal talo-navicular ligament. So this is your dorsal. Here also I can put the same ligament in the picture. That's it. That's about your this surface. So let us see our ligament. Here, dorsal talo-navicular ligament. Yeah, that's a band. You can see there. And if we isolate this, you see that's a ligament. Can you see this on the top? That small band-aid. That's this band-aid. That's a dorsal talo-navicular ligament. It is present on the dorsum, or you can simply call superior talo-navicular ligament also. See? Okay. So next, further moving to the dorsal is over. Next is your plantar. Plantar is also called inferior surface. So this one is inferior. Yes, this is your inferior view, and here will not be able to see, so we'll use only this one. So this is an inferior view. Let us bring the image little on this side. So this one is the inferior view, what we are saying. So this is a plantar surface or inferior surface. This is medial and this is lateral. Now here we can see there is a groove is there. You cannot miss, there is a groove. That's how you can even decide the side also. If you notice, there is a groove is there here in this area. You see there is a, here you can see there is a groove is there. This is the groove here. So groove is present in the inferior part. And it's, if you divide this, this groove is present into the medial part. So your medial part of plantar surface, you find a groove. Now this groove is again definitely allow the passage of tendon, for the passage of your tendon of tibialis posterior. So tibialis posterior goes through this. So that's it. So it is having a groove in the medial part, allow the tendon of tibialis posterior. This is one part. Then if you see the lateral part, which is big enough again, so if you see this one again, so this one was your, you can say this is your medial part forming a groove, this medial, and the remaining area is your lateral part. Now this lateral part, this provides attachment to spring ligament. So the spring ligament is an important 3 marker. When you read spring ligament, these all things will come into picture. So there is one tendon and there is another groove is there. So let us look these two in the application. So now we need tibialis posterior, right? Yeah, tibialis posterior. You can see in the picture again, that's a tibialis posterior going all the way behind your tibia, grooving here, and you see here it's a tendon of tibialis posterior goes in field. So what I can do, I will select this and then isolate this. Now get the idea. So tibialis posterior is going all the way and it is forming a groove. You see it is passing through the groove. So that's a groove. The medial part is a groove. So this is the groove through which it is. Here tibialis posterior is going. This is tibialis posterior and here is a tendon of the tibialis posterior. It is passing through the groove present on the medial side. Now this lateral part is giving attachment to spring ligament. So let us see the spring ligament in the lateral part. It is also called plantar calcaneonavicular. So let's isolate. No, that's your ligament here, this piece. Now if you can identify this, now here it is attached to, because the other name of this is here calcaneonavicular. The name itself says calcaneonavicular. That means it is from the calcaneum to the navicular bone. So calcaneal attachment we have seen in the calcaneum, that was, and here to the navicular. Where to the navicular it is attached? It is attached to the plantar surface. Where to the plantar surface? The lateral part. So that's your attachment. So this is all the structures which are attached. You can see navicular bone, spring ligament, and your tibialis posterior. Okay, so we are done with the plantar or the inferior surface. Now let us go to the next surface. The next surface is our medial surface. So again we put it back. So in this case and in this case. So here this surface is our medial surface, and in this case this surface is our medial surface. So medial surface is projecting downward. If you draw a line and if you see, this projects downward, so thereby it projects downward. And why it is going downward? Because this downward projection what you are seeing, it is what we call as a tuberosity. So this we call as a tuberosity of navicular bone. Now when you have a tuberosity, it is something like a traction epiphysis, like a tuberosity tubercle of your humerus or trochanter of your humerus or adductor tubercle of femur. So this tuberosity if you have, this definitely will provide attachment to your tendon of, major part of your tendon of tibialis posterior is inserting. Tibialis posterior comes and insert and pull this bone out, and which forms your tubercle. So here we cannot make out, not so clearly, but we will see in the application. So here we already have a tibialis posterior, and if you want to see the tubercle, let me give a color to it. Yeah, that elevation, if you can notice here, this part, you see a small bony projection coming down. So inferior view, let us again isolate this so that we'll be able to see better. So this is your tubercle or tuberosity. Now last surface is your lateral surface. So here we have tubercle. The last surface now. The last surface is your lateral surface. A lateral surface of, so for lateral surface we take this picture. Okay, this is the lateral surface and this is the lateral surface which is coming towards the cuboid. You can also call this surface as a cuboidal surface. Cuboidal because it is facing cuboid, so cuboidal surface or lateral surface. Now this surface is rough and it has an articular facet for cuboid, thereby forming a joint called as a cubonavicular joint. So let us see this joint here. So just we have to go back and add inner list cuboid bone. If I just select and then isolate, yeah, that's where the cuboid is joined. And if I just exclude this, this one, so this is our lateral surface and this is the cuboid, and they are forming a joint. You see the joint? So that's a lateral surface, all beautiful joint. So this is about here all the 6 surfaces. Now since we know the surface, we'll be able to even decide now the side determination. So side determination and anatomical position. So if you see in this, how do we decide a side? So you have to hold the bone in such a way that your deep concave surface should face posteriorly. The surface, you can call this as your talar surface. So this surface concavity should face posteriorly. This is one part. Then there is a projection we call as a navicular tuberosity. Now we know where is navicular tuberosity. It is on the medial surface. So navicular tuberosity should be directed medially. So here we have a tuberosity will be there on this side, directed medially, and on the plantar surface you got a groove for your tibialis posterior. So a groove present on the plantar or inferior surface. So these are the 3 points which will help us to decide the side in anatomy. Next, cuboid. So cuboid bone. So next in line, it is the distal row bone, and so in this picture cuboid, and in this view cuboid. So in this view this is our cuboid, and in this view this is our cuboid. Superior view cuboid and lateral view cuboid. So cuboid, the name itself implies, means it is cube-like or cuboid shape. That is why it is called the cuboid. And as far as the location is concerned, it is a distal row tarsal bone located between. So you can see it is lying in front of your calcaneum, and behind your fourth and fifth bases of fourth and fifth meta. So location front of calcaneus and behind bases of fourth and fifth metatarsal. So that's your location, as simple as that. Here also you can see this is base of your fourth, this is the base of your fifth, so it is behind this, and this is in front of your calcaneum. That's the location. And if you want to give the other view also, it is lateral to navicular bone and the lateral cuneiform bone. So that is another way of adding one more part. Now surfaces. It also presents 6 surfaces. So what are the surfaces we see? Again, surface is the same. Again, you have anterior surface. It is very simple. Now, anterior surface is the one which is distal. So this one will be your anterior surface. The anterior surface 1, and I'll take one more image here. So let us put this one also. So in this is the anterior surface, or I can use a different color. So this is the anterior surface. In this also, this is the anterior surface. Next, anterior is also called distal. Posterior will be called as a proximal. So posterior proximal surface is another surface. So which is posterior surface? So posterior will be this one. So this is a posterior concave convex. You can use a different color. So this is the posterior proximal surface. Posterior proximal surface 2. Then you have posterior, then again dorsal or superior surface. So this is the dorsal surface, this is the dorsal surface, and plantar surface or inferior surface. So for this view, and here you can see this is your plantar surface or inferior surface. Then you got your medial surface. So medial in this case will be, so this is your medial which I am coloring now. This entirely is your medial. In this case, this is your medial. And then finally there is a lateral. This is the lateral here, you can see. This is the lateral, and this is the lateral. So these are the surface. So one by one, let us see. First we'll talk about the anterior or distal surface. So this is here and this is here. So anterior surfaces, so let us color the anterior surface. So this one is anterior, in this case this is your anterior. So again anterior surface. So what are you seeing here? The anterior surface is here, if you see from the front, it is quadrilateral. From the anterior view, if you see, it is quadrilateral in shape or quadrangular in shape, and it has got a triangular. So this is, if you see from the front, then there is a medial and lateral area is divided. So if I call this is a medial, so it is medial and lateral. Lateral will be more or less like this. So you see, if I can make a triangle out of it, so you can see laterally the surface is triangular in shape, more or less. And this is, you see, 4 angles are there. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So this is your medial portion. So you can say medial half is quadrangular, whereas the lateral half is triangular. So this is what we see when we look at here. So this is the anterior surface. When you look at this side, if you stand here, remove these two bones and see there, you will find these two. So when you have two faces, definitely it will articulate with 2. So you will have the bases of 5th and 4th. You can see here the bases of 5th and 4th metatarsal bones are articulating. So your 4th will articulate with, the 4th is articulating with your quadrilateral, and 5th base is articulating with the triangular. So this is about your anterior surface. So let us see this one. So this is a cuboid, and let us do multi-selection. Okay, that's your cuboid, you can see. So surfaces. This is on the top is the dorsal surface, this is the inferior surface, this is the posterior surface, and this one is the lateral, and this is your medial, and here you can see this is the anterior surface. So if you explode, then you can see this is the anterior surface you got. If I draw it here, so you can see here this is a little bigger, and this is triangular. So this is for your fourth, this is for your fifth. So this is the fifth metatarsal, this is fourth metatarsal. So that's your articulation and the joint. So what will be the name of the joint? So name of the joint should be metatarsal. So it is between metatarsal cuboidal joint. So this finishes your anterior surface. Next is the posterior or proximal surface. So this is the surface now. Surface is a posterior proximal surface. What do you see here? The surface is important among all because it is fine example. Here you will see it is this articular surface is concavo-convex. Where do you come across concavo-convex articular surface? Remember the saddle joint? You see concavo-convex. So here if you notice, this is here. This one is your concave lower down. It goes up, it becomes convex. So it is a concavo-convex articular surface. And so thereby if it is a concavo-concave, so it will form a saddle variety of synovial joint. So saddle synovial joint. One we know is for CMC joint. The other example you can give here, it is making a joint with the calcaneum and cuboid. So calcaneo-cuboid joint. So calcaneo-cuboid joint is an example of saddle variety of synovial joint. So let us see this in this. So let us add calcaneum to this and go to isolate mode, and you see here, and if you explode this, you can see this is your concavo-convex, and the joint which is formed is here. So this is the calcaneo-cuboid joint. It is a finest example of your saddle variety of synovial joint. Upper limb example is your first CMC joint, first carpometacarpal, which is in the thumb. Lower limb example is this one. Okay, so it is very simple and easy. It's straightforward also. So we are done with the anterior posterior. Next is the dorsal, also called superior surface. On dorsal or superior surface, so this one let us bring here, this also we can bring here. So in this is the dorsal, and here this is the dorsal. Now dorsal or superior surface is just like all other surface, it is rough, and definitely it will provide attachment to here again a ligament. So ligament is again same here, dorsal ligament of foot. So there are ligaments of foot are there here. So there is a dorsal ligament of foot. We'll see here. It is rough and flat. Okay, so name of the ligament is dorsal ligament. Not showing the ligament here. Possibly this is a ligament, though I'm not sure. There should be some ligament like this. Okay, so next, only two ligament I can think. One ligament which should hold this part of, sorry, so one ligament which should hold this joint, other ligament should hold this joint, so both are dorsal ligament. Next is your plantar or inferior surface. So this is plantar inferior surface. In this case, this is your bone all the way here, and that's your surface, your plantar surface. Now, just like everywhere, the inferior plantar surface is presenting a groove. So here also we have a groove here, the location of groove. Now groove is for the tendon of peroneus longus. So peroneus longus passes through this. Here you can see that the groove is there. Now let us see this in the app. Peroneus. Remember, peroneus is also called fibularis. Now see this one, starting on the lateral side, from the lateral compartment of the fibula, lateral upper two-third of fibula coming down, and you can see here it is passing through the inferior surface. You can see there is a groove, is there, oblique groove. So it passes through this. So these grooves, if you remember, these are all the slings for your arches. That is the reason why I am paying attention. It is important because if you know where they are, so it will be easy to remember. Otherwise, you simply imagine in your mind. And now, medial and lateral surface. First, we start with the medial surface. So medial surfaces. Sorry. Now, in this case, this is your medial surface. This is your medial surface. So we know the medial surface is bearing two facets. There are two articular facets are there. So one is a large facet, which is oval in shape. Another one is a small oval in shape. So your large facet is, you see among this, which bone looks bigger or which one. So it is definitely, it is to the navicular. It is one here, another one here. So two are there. So large one is for your navicular, forming cubonavicular joint, and small one is for your cuneiform, lateral cuneiform. So these are your two facets for both the bones to form the joints. Now let us see this one also in the app. So your navicular and the lateral cuneiform bones we have to see. So we will add in our picture navicular and the cuneiform and isolate them. So once we explode, we get the surface. Yeah, so that's, you see there are two facets are there. Sorry. And this facet is for your navicular, This is for your lateral cuneiform. This is your lateral cuneiform. This is the navicular. You assemble them, you will get the joint. Okay, so that's about your medial surface. Now next is the lateral surface. So lateral surface is again small, and here also you have a groove. Now this is the groove made by again the peroneus longus. So peroneus longus is not only going to the inferior surface, but before it has to reach the inferior plantar surface, it has to reach from the, so you can see here we told it is making a groove for the peroneus longus. So this muscle has to reach to this part of it, but they have to cross the lateral surface. So thereby, so lateral surface. So here you can see, can you notice there is a groove is there here? This is the groove. So lateral surface bear a groove for your peroneus longus tendon. After going through this, it will go to the inferior surface. See, in this picture it is already there. You can see here, this is here you can see. So let me remove the, yeah, so that's your lateral surface here. Let us remove, okay, so that's the lateral surface and inferior surface. If you see both, so this is the lateral surface, this is the inferior surface. Both are having groove. One groove is here, other groove is here. So this finishes your cuboid bone. Next is your cuneiform. Cuneiform bones, there are 3 in number. The word cuneiform literally in Latin means wedge, like a liver. So wedge shape is what we call. You even have a cuneiform, precuneate and cuneate in the brain, also on the medial surface, the wedge. So something like this is what we call as a cuneiform. So that is your cuneiform, more or less. It's more blunt, like this is a cuneiform here. So you can see there are 3 are there, from medial to lateral: medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform, and lateral cuneiform. These are 3 bones are there. They all are wedge shape, and they are labeled from medial to lateral, first, second and third cuneiform also. First cuneiform, second and third. Labeling is from medial to lateral. Now among all the 3 cuneiform, the medial cuneiform is the largest. That is why we saw the facet for this on the navicular bone was the largest. It's the largest cuneiform among all. Whereas your intermediate one is the smallest cuneiform. These are just the facts. So intermediate and middle cuneiform is the smallest, thereby your lateral being the intermediate cuneiform. And their surfaces, if you see, surfaces also, you have a anterior surface or proximal surface, which is this surface, all of this anterior proximal surface. Then you got again, there is a posterior distal surface. So this will be the posterior distal surface. Then definitely there is a post proximal distal, then you will have superior surface, inferior surface, medial lateral. So anyways, these surfaces are not important, but what is very important, you can note down your anterior surfaces are forming a joint. Like your first cuneiform is forming a joint with the base of first metatarsal, intermediate is forming with the base of second, and lateral is forming with the base of third and the second. So those are your joint what we have. And the posterior surface is forming a joint with the navicular bone, and medial of the first is not having any joint formation, but the lateral of the first and the medial of the second, and lateral of the second and the medial of the third, they are forming intercuneiform joint, and the lateral of your lateral cuneiform in the medial surface of the cuboid, they form another joint. So these are your joints what we have. It is not only one, but it is also forming a joint with the fourth metatarsal bone. So this is in detail about this. Now something interesting here is the base of your second metatarsal. If you see this one, sorry, interesting thing is the base of second metatarsal is most fixed. It is very stable, most fixed or secured. The reason for this is because it fits into, you can see here it is fitting into this is the base, and it is most fixed and secured because it is fitting into a socket which is formed by three cuneiform. You can see this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. It is something like all three are securing its movement. So all these three, so because it is fixed and secured by three cuneiform bones, so it cannot move. For this reason, your axial line of foot passes through this, passes through second toe, because second is going to the second toe again, second toe, and that is the reason we describe like movement of abduction of your greater abduction and adduction of the toes with reference to second toe. And why second toe? Because second toe is very fixed. Why second toe is very fixed and stable? Because it is attached to the base of, it is fixed to the second metatarsal, and second metatarsal base is very fixed because of the attachment of, or the socket is formed by three cuneiform ones. So this is something interesting. Why in your in the upper limb we consider the middle finger as your reference line, axial line, along with adduction abduction of digit will happen. In your lower limb it is a line is passing through the second. Now why this is considered? Because of this reason. Now your bones are all over. I mean, now we can look into the tarsal bones are over. Let us talk about your metatarsal bones. Now these are all simple points are there. Metatarsal bones are here. They are 5 miniature long bones. They are miniature. Example of miniature long bone. So they will have, definitely they will have got ends are there. So they are 5 in number, and a group of them together, just like tarsal, tarsus. These are called metatarsus. The plural form of it, plural. If they are 5 grouped together, you will call them as a metatarsus. And they are also labeled from the medial to lateral. Labeling is medial to lateral. Unlike in your upper limb, metacarpal are lateral to medial. So they are labeled from medial to lateral. So medial bone being the first and the lateral bone being the fifth one here. And if these bones are mixed up, they are arranged, if they are mixed up and given it to you, your identification is shortest, thickest and strongest bone among all them is your first. The reason why the first metatarsal is short, thick, and because the weight transmission happens through this particular bone. So this is the shortest, thickest and strongest bone because it allows the transmission of weight. And they have again articular surfaces are kidney shape and also that is not required. So next, if you look at the second metatarsal bone is considered to be your longest. So this one, sorry, this one is considered as the longest metatarsal. Strongest is your first, this is your longest metatarsal. Then third metatarsal, again, so third metatarsal is having, apart from the articulating with the respective cuneiform here and here, the third metatarsal is having the facet on the lateral. You can see it is, apart from having a facet on the base, it is also having a facet on the lateral side, by which it is articulating with your fourth metatarsal also. So that is about third. So it has got a dual facets. Then fourth metatarsal, here also if you see, fourth also has got one at the base and one on the medial side, one on the lateral side. So it also has got more than 2. And your fifth metatarsal. Now fifth metatarsal is very interesting because here it is having a projection. Can you see the small projection at the back? And this we call as a styloid process. of fifth metatarsal. So fifth metatarsal has got a projection. So this projection is a large tuberosity. You can call this tuberosity or simply as a styloid process. Now, what are the parts of any bone? If you see, these are all miniature long bone. So what parts they will have? They will have a head. These are the parts of your metatarsal: head, shaft, and base. So your head are all rounded and condyle. These are all the heads. So heads are always distal, you can say, and bases are all proximal. Bases are proximal. You can see bases are towards your tarsal bone and heads are towards your phalanges. Shaft is in between. It's in between or intervening in between them. And as you can see here, all the bases are forming. All the bases form your tarso metatarsal joint. Apart from that, they also are contributing to the intermetatarsal also. Sometimes they are joining with each other also. So these are the joints what we have at the base. Whereas the heads are forming, all these heads are contributing, they are forming your metatarsophalangeal joint. So those are your joint which they are forming. Now with respect to this one, so there is also shaft is there in between. Now the shaft is interesting because it gives the plantar aspect of the shaft. On this side, they give the muscle. Now these muscles are, you can see on this side, plantar means something on the lower side. This is the other view if I see, this is the one. On this view if I see, and this is what we call plantar view. So this plantar view will give on both the side of the shaft. So bipinnate muscles are given. So these bipinnate muscles are your interossei. So your dorsal interossei are arising from the plantar aspect of the shaft of all your four lateral metatarsal bones. So that's about your metatarsal. Then coming to the applied aspect. On these metatarsal bones, again especially the styloid process of fifth metatarsal bone, it is commonly involved in the fracture because it is a projection. It is involved in the fracture. So this portion. So this is again involved in the fracture. So what happens is, to this we have the attachment of peroneus brevis is coming in attaching to this. So this I should have told you. It gives styloid process give attachment to peroneus brevis. Longus goes deeper, but peroneus brevis attaches to this. So thereby avulsion injury, wherein there is a pull of the tendon along with the fractured segment. Both will come out. So there is a fracture along due to sudden pull of the tendon of the peroneus brevis. So such fracture, so avulsion injury, which involve the styloid process of the fifth metatarsal bone to be removed, this is called the Jones fracture. The Jones fracture is a avulsion injury along with the fractured segment and the peroneus brevis tendon avulsion. So it is called Jones fracture because it was named after an orthopedician by name Sir Robert Jones. And interesting thing is, Sir Robert Jones himself suffered or sustained this injury. So he was the first person to have this avulsion injury. So because he was the first patient and he is the one who actually worked on it. So thereby it is called as a Jones fracture. You also have another applied aspect called March fracture. What are March fractures? So March fractures are seen in the soldiers. So these are the fractures you can see here. Now these are the fractures which can happen. So usually March fracture typically, see this one, you see here this F injury what you are noticing, and this is the tendon of your peroneus brevis. So this is your Jones fractures. Your Jones fracture is a fracture with the avulsion number, this F what we have. Other than that, you see there is a B and there is a C is there and there is a D is there. So these are your fractures in the shaft or even the neck of second or third or fourth, for that matter, metatarsal bone. Usually second and third, there is a shaft fracture is there either in the shaft or neck of these bone. So these are seen in soldiers after aggressive prolonged march past. March past, that parade and march past they do after prolonged aggressive march past they develop these fractures among soldiers. So this is why it is called as a march fracture. The last part is your phalanges again. So if you look at the phalanges, so phalanges are again the example. So these are phalangeal bones or phalanges. They are here again example of miniature long bones, just like a metatarsal, and they are 14 in number. Your grade 2 got 2, and whereas your remaining other 4 toes, they got 3 each. You can see 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3. All remaining have got 3 each. And yeah, and among this, only in the grade 2 here we have the joint which is forming is, again this is what we call base of phalange, this we call shaft, and this we call head. Same thing is true with every phalanges. So thereby the base of the your phalanx will make a joint with the head of the metatarsal bone to form the joint. This joint is what we call metatarsophalangeal joint, plain synovial joint. And apart from that, they also form a joint between themselves. So these are called interphalangeal joint. So in all these cases, you have the distal IP joint. IP stands for interphalangeal, and proximal IP joint. So this is true for all the 4 lateral toes. But in case of your thumb, you have only one IP joint. So simply you call that as the IP joint of grade 2. No proximal, no distal. So this is all about your phalanges, and they are also equally prone to fracture. So fracture can happen in them. So if fracture happen in them, usually the treatment is, if it is not involving any neurovascular structure, so commonly it is managed by putting a plaster. So you can see here. So what is done is, you can see in this case, plaster is put like this. So fracture of a phalanges are splinted by taping to the adjacent to, this is what we call buddy taping, buddy friends. So buddy taping, and this should actually take care of it. It will give the immobility and the bone will heal. And you can see also in this, there is a fracture in the segment, the proximal segment, proximal phalanx fractures are there. So these are your fractures which can happen. So guys, we are done with the anatomy of foot also. Now osteology is all done. In next session we'll start the soft part. Hope you are enjoying the entire osteology. Go through it again and again. It will help you to understand things better. If you have any question, please get back to me. Thank you.